Loush,
Ibby,
and you. It's the cool cousins. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God, I missed you.
Oh yeah,
How you doing, man?
not bad. You?
Good, man. Good. It's good to see you guys, and just chill out, grab a drink or not. Actually,
or not. Y'all notice
My bad.
my area of the table is completely clear from drinks.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's there's no drinks on the table.
Yeah. Why isn't there no drinks on the table, Loush?
Well,
Why?
because it is the holy month of Ramadan.
Yes, sir.
And we are currently we're a few days in.
Yeah, we started Tuesday.
We started Tuesday, so
Today's Saturday.
so we're a few days in now. It's been, I guess, a challenge with lockdown and with the life and not being able to see your loved ones and everything. But before we get into that, first and foremost, Ramadan Kareem.
Ramadan Mubarak.
And for everybody that is practicing and for those that aren't but are curious and know what's going on, we're wishing you guys all the best as well. We hope that this month can bring you some clarity, some peace, a closer relationship to God and with your loved ones. And I think Ramadan is just has a really intense way of doing that. Among all of the forms of meditation or practice or prayer or religious methods, if you will, Ramadan just seems to be like right at the top when it comes to removing, all the distractions and toxins from your life.
Oh, that's the whole point of it, though.
Yeah.
It's to make you pure, closer to God.
Yeah.
Get rid of. So basically, the whole point of it is you don't eat, drink. You can't swear. You pray constantly. You have to pray.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't pray all 5 prayers throughout the day, I'm not going to say your fast won't count, but there's a high chance that it will not. You know what I mean? It's not up for me to decide, so I'm not going to say that it will happen. It's just, honestly, it's a good time for you just to get closer to God. It's the best time for you to get closer to God. So everything that you do is either multiplied like a lot with sins or good deeds.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta, it's very spiritual, man. It's calming. It's relaxing. Even though it's challenging, but that's the whole point of it.
That's right.
It brings in your inner self, like you find your willpower. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Willpower. That's the key right there. And I think willpower is something a lot of people struggle with. And even in general, whether it's smoking or drinking or abstaining from something that challenges you. Oh man. They say the devil is locked up during the holy month of Ramadan. And, whether you're religious or not, there's still something to be said about the negative energy and cleansing yourself or even just distancing yourself in general from that negative energy. And I think we talk about food and drink a lot because that's the most obvious thing. And that's the most challenging thing.
And that's the one thing that non-Muslims know about Ramadan. They always think that it's just not eating and not drinking water.
I always wait for the tidal wave of not even water.
Not even water? Yeah, I can't swear either. Like, you gotta watch your language. Like, it's very, very humbling.
I get that you don't eat, but like not even water.
Like,
though?
You can't even drink. It's not just like hostile.
Impossible. Like, how do you live? I don't know why we became Britneys all
I don't
of a
know,
sudden.
bro. I'm following your lead at this point. It just clicked into my head. You know what I mean?
But I mean, I do have generally a really good experience with non-Muslims, curiosity and just wanting to know more, and they usually approach it from a spiritual angle, a meditative angle. I know a lot actually of non-Muslims that have tried Ramadan. They kind of would do like a few days, or they would do the entire month. It's for them, it's like something exciting and it's different. It definitely sparks their interest. And, I think that living in the West and being a part of the community here in society, like, it's important to invite them in and not close off that conversation, because with knowledge comes more respect and everybody kind of understands one another. You kind of break down a lot of misconceptions if you're willing to talk about that stuff.
Honestly, so the thing is with me, why I love to personally fast is I get closer to God. But another reason is it's a chance for you to ask for forgiveness for all the things you've done wrong from the last Ramadan until this Ramadan.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because this is a very good time for you to reflect with yourself and expand in your religion. It is very, very, very peaceful. Like you feel it's an opportunity for you to feel whole again.
Right.
You know what I mean? To find yourself. I love it.
I think you touched on the most important part for me too, is peaceful, to be at peace, tranquility, right? It's silence. Everything just gets quiet during Ramadan. Like your mind gets quiet, your soul becomes quiet, and you're in control, right? When you get rid of the worldly pleasures, such as food and drink and whatever other worldly pleasures you may be into, that don't help your character or don't help your growth or don't fill you with positive energy, then you're in control of how your day goes and what you think and how you feel. Yeah. And of course, you supplement your time with prayer, and you really get a really good understanding because you've removed all of the distractions away.
All of them.
So everything is just hyper-focused. And fasting is nothing new, right? Like it's a lot of societies do it. A lot of civilizations have done it in the past, and it's always led to the same thing, which is like the purification of your state of mind, your soul, your religion, whichever angle you want to look at it. There's a detox, there's a cleansing effect, and that can be interpreted as physiological, could be interpreted as religious, spiritual, mental, in whatever way. Like it's a win-win.
I look at it as a way also to put you in check. You know what I mean? Like you have the rest of the year where a lot of opportunities for you to slip up and do things against your religion happen. But during the month of Ramadan, everything you do is judged, basically, even on a higher extent, whether good or bad. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And once you start to go down the right path with your religion, like Islam, it's meant to also stay consistent even though Ramadan is done after Ramadan. Mm-hmm. Like this is they should stay consistent throughout the whole year until the next Ramadan for the rest of your life. It always puts you in check every single year.
Yeah, and I think that's the challenge that a lot of us have, is being able to check yourself and remind yourself of just being a good person. Now, I don't. So again, like I've said this a lot on YouTube and stuff, is that we're not a religious channel, but religion plays a huge part in the culture.
Of course.
And for that reason, sometimes you can't talk about the culture without talking about the religion. And it's really that pursuit of happiness, that pursuit of being a better person really ties beautifully into the holy month of Ramadan, because the beauty behind it, especially nowadays, I think the modern take on Ramadan has really done it way more favors than I think the more traditional ways of practicing it. Because growing up, for me, I was never really explained like the spiritual angle or the cleansing angle or the relationship angle of Ramadan. It was like, well, you can't eat from sun up to sundown, and that's just the way it goes. And we don't want to go to hell.
That's
and it just seemed so transactional.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's a good way to get as many good deeds as you can and to wipe away all your sins from the previous Ramadan and stuff. But again, I kind of raise an eyebrow at that, because I think a lot of people use it as a transaction.
Yes, they use it as like, okay, I have the entire year to do whatever I want, and then when Ramadan comes around, I'll ask for forgiveness and wipe it all away. Nope, not the way it works.
Right. If you live to see the next Ramadan.
Now you're playing a game though. Like you're playing with God at this point.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
And a lot of Christians do it like for Sunday, right? All the sinning happens Saturday night. and then on Sunday they repent, and then it's like a clean slate on Monday. And that to me is just really transactional, because then your relationship with good and evil becomes like a game.
There's a very thin line between that now.
Yeah.
You're just, above all else, you're not only playing with God, you're playing with yourself.
Yeah.
Which is...
That's true.
It's sad, man. I know a lot of people that did that. I've seen it a lot. And honestly, like for me too, when I was younger, I didn't really take it that serious.
Mm-hmm.
But every year, it would get better and better and better and better. Until now, like now when Ramadan comes around the corner, I am all in it. Even when Ramadan's over, I always try my best. Pray 5 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
Stay close to my religion. Stay humble. Try not to use profanity.
Yeah.
I try to keep it consistent.
That's good. That's good. And for anybody, listening or watching that's in that same boat, I think that, it's a beautiful journey. It's a great experience. And as long as, we can try to, I guess you can say, brand it or frame it in a way that makes sense to people, then it's actually doing its job. Because for me, growing up, I was always the kid that didn't ask, what do I have to do, but why do I have to do it? Like, make it make sense for me. And I think that is something that millennials have, or now with the new digital natives,
oh my God,
the younger generation, it's not a matter of what anymore. It's a matter of why. And if you can explain why you have to fast or why it's good for you, then the chances of success are so much higher.
Yeah.
Because it's not enough anymore. In today's age, digital age, like, you can get information anywhere. And so I'm not just going to take your word on it. I don't care. Like, there's a lot of religious leaders or institutions or places of worship that do a very poor job at communicating with the youth. They do a very poor job at translating the religion to the younger community, and because for them, it's a matter of fact. They're like purebred traditionalists.
Yeah.
They're not here to be modern or to change with the time, or because to them that's a threat, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that say, "Oh, well, you're innovating. Innovation is a threat," which in some contexts, like I agree with that. If you're going to innovate on the 5 pillars, you're going to innovate on things that are just so firmly established in the religion, fine, that's okay. But if I'm going to take Ramadan and I'm going to retranslate it, or I'm going to refocus it to make sense to me, but the outcome is the same, it shouldn't matter to you.
Not at all. As long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
As long as your mindset and your actions towards the holy month of Ramadan are pure and right, then the way you think of it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter to anybody else.
Because I promise you, man, there's so many guys that I knew in university that would fast, and they were all about that life, and they really made sure that they showed like this public display of religion, but they knew what to do, so they can answer any question you had as far as the what was concerned. But if you ever asked them why, it was like the circuit board would just like glitch, like it just didn't compute with them.
They start buffering.
Yeah. It's like they start buffering, and they're like, what do you mean? What do you mean why? What do you mean enlightenment? What do you mean spiritual journey? No. Like, you fast, you pray, read Quran, and that's it. You make sure and you hope that God forgives you and you get your good deeds. It's like a transaction.
Yep.
Like you're doing your taxes.
You do it because you have to do it. That's it. You don't ask why.
Exactly. Which completely turned me off to the whole thing. Right? And I think that's a big problem, because the hypocrisy exists.
Of course, bro. Of course. Instead of you asking them, they try to force it on you. And what ends up happening is they'll come up to you, for example, and be like, yo, why aren't you fasting? Why aren't you doing this? This is haram. You're supposed to be close to God. You're supposed to do it right now.
Yeah.
You're at an social You're at an age where you should know better. It's like, okay, at this point, the way you're coming at it, you're pushing the person you're talking to away rather than bringing him closer. Because you gotta really, really watch how you speak to people about topics like this.
Yeah.
Like, it's very sensitive.
Yeah, exactly. And like what sounds better? You have to do this to avoid eternal hellfire, and you need to repent and cleanse your sins because we're imperfect and we need to detox once a year. Or why don't you come on this spiritual journey that's gonna lead to self-discovery, greater sense of accomplishment, and you actually completing a real challenge that in turn will make you more religious and spiritual in the process. Which one sounds more appealing?
Obviously, number 2.
Right?
Because it's more peaceful. It makes me feel happy the way you're saying it anyways, right?
Yeah, and I'm also describing how it benefits you.
Exactly, because it's a journey. That's really what it is. The whole thing is a journey.
It's a journey that we all go on separately, but there is this community vibe to it.
Yes.
Right? Like the community is it's the ummah, it's the nation, right, of Islam. And sometimes, unfortunately, and I hate to say it, but someone's got to say it, there's a lot of guys out there and girls, but there's a lot of people that use the hypocrisy and the social pressure to just show, outwards, not inwards. They're always looking outwards. And it's usually the quietest one that's like minding his own business, just fasting, praying, doing what they got to do on that journey on their own. Like you're literally alone on this journey. You're not holding hands with 50 other people.
Of course not.
And it's like, yo, come on, we got to go pray. It's like, I already did. Like I'm good. No, we got to go do it together. Hello, who's leading? Who's going to do the call? It's like, brother, I understand your passion. I understand your energy. And that may be how he needs to be in order to practice, because everybody's fighting evil and everybody fights it in their own way. But for me to need somebody next to me is actually a really big weakness.
That's because the way I look at it as well is, at this point, you're not going to pray for God. You're going to go pray to impress the person beside you.
Exactly. And to let other people know that you went to pray.
Which is, now you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Now you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. And so that speaks to, we've mentioned this before, but niyye, which is intention.
Intention. Everything
is in the intention.
The intention. Always. Always.
Yeah. So that's my point when it comes to just practicing your faith in general.
Yeah. So fasting isn't just about not eating and not drinking, right? Like, there are people who are unable to go an entire day without eating and not drinking for whatever purpose, health. You have to take medicine all day. But once again, that's not the entire point of Ramadan, right? Get closer to God. Prevent profanity. Try not to swear. Be peaceful. Be humble. Donate.
Mm-hmm.
Donation is key. You have to donate throughout Ramadan.
Yeah, absolutely. Give zakat.
You have to anything, any source of whatever. You have to donate.
And there's no shame. In admitting that you're not fasting. By the way,
absolutely.
You can actually empower yourself by saying, "Hey, listen, I don't need to prove anything to anybody." Right? This whole social pressure. And I think this is cultural, by the way. And I think that it exists.
It really is.
Within the grander conversation of social pressure in our culture. I think Ramadan just kind of falls into it because it's easy to spot whether someone's eating or drinking. Like in university, the cafeteria was completely empty. It was a no man's land. It was like radioactive. If you were caught in the cafeteria, it was like, like the whispering and all of that stuff. Everybody basically breaks their fast because they're now backbiting. And they're talking about the person that's not fasting, which is ironic. I'm on medication for a couple of days. I'm not on medication for other days. And you do what you can with what you have, right? If it's a health concern or whatnot. But that doesn't mean that I'm not practicing in other ways, or I haven't made a commitment to completely remove all the evil and toxic out of my life, right? And this could be like a mental health thing too. I think a lot of people during Ramadan, especially now with COVID, are using this time to get rid of a lot of the noise, like I said, get rid of all the pressure, just relax and don't worry about anything and just be at peace with yourself, because as soon as you're at peace with yourself, you can then be at peace with other people. If you're at war with yourself, the battle's going to rage endlessly with other people.
That's the thing, bro, because a lot of people don't know what you just said. Like, they don't know those facts. Like, for example, I saw this video one time. These guys are just doing a little skit. And these two guys are walking down the street. And they see this old guy in an alleyway eating. This isn't like, obviously, it's like, there's been portrayed in an Islamic country. And they both start laughing at him. So they go up to him and they're teasing him. He's like, oh, so you're not fasting? He's like, no, I am unable to fast because of whatever reason, medical history. I'm like, I have to eat all day, but I practice in other ways. I do 1, 2, 3, 4. He basically told them pointers and facts about how to practice Ramadan, even though you can't go through the whole day without eating and drinking water. And these two just felt like crap.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm here picking at this man because I am unable to go throughout the entire day without eating or drinking water.
Yeah, he humbled them.
And the funny thing is, even the old man looks at them. He's like, are you guys fasting? They're like, no, we're just not eating and drinking water throughout the whole day. Because they realize that is the only thing that they're not doing. But the rest of the entire concept of Ramadan, they're not following at all.
So they broke their fast a long time ago. Yeah, I love that.
So it's...
Yeah, and I wish more people were just that self-aware about it, you know, because there's a lot of people out there that believe that they're actually doing something good. And I can't judge. And you know, everybody's on their own journey. And you hope that eventually they make it to a better place and they find that peace with themselves. Because, you know, even when the sun is down, that doesn't mean all the backbiting and all the toxic relationships and all of the bad things need to happen now. Right? Up until it's time to start fasting. Like, you need to check yourself. You need to check your behavior as a human being.
Yeah. Like, you know? even me, when I break my fast, I'm still following my deen, like, until the next time I have to fast again. You know what I mean? I'm watching videos of how to better myself as a Muslim. What haven't I learned? What can I learn? You know what I mean? Try to practice reciting ayat. All that stuff, you know?
Cool. Yeah, absolutely, bro. And that's amazing.
And I'll go back to the point that you made with not being able to eat and drink because of whatever reason you have. At the end of the day, your intentions are known by God, right? If you're at peace with yourself, and I'm speaking to everybody here, if you're at peace with yourself, do you. That's nobody else's business.
Yeah.
If you're at peace with yourself and with God, and you're unable to eat and drink, so you can't go through it the whole day without eating and drinking, you have to eat, hey, by all means. Exactly. There's other ways to practice Ramadan. That's it.
The same way you focus on your relationship and your intentions during Ramadan and when practicing, you should focus on your intentions and your relationship when you're not practicing.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
And so you think about, you know, task versus challenge, right? Old school, traditional mindset was, this is a task that we have to do. It's like homework, you know, it's one of the pillars. We don't ask questions. You keep your head down and you focus on the task at hand. Okay. I can see some merit to that. Some people need that kind of structure. Some people need that type of authority. Some people don't have the capacity to go into these like interstellar, you know, spiritual and multidimensional conversations, peeling back the layers of your subconscious, right? Some people are just not like that. And
100%.
And I totally respect that.
Yeah.
I totally respect that.
Who are we to judge?
Who are we to judge? But I'll tell you what, who are they to judge also?
Of course. Of course.
That's what I'm saying, is that when you have a task and you notice that someone else isn't doing your task, that makes you feel a certain way about them, and it makes you feel a certain way about you. If you give a task to one person out of two, and they're the only ones doing it, I promise you the relationship between the two people is going to be tainted in some way. Right? But if you give a challenge to two people,
that's different.
Now you've changed the whole dynamic. Now I've given you a challenge to see whether or not you can conquer this on your own terms, not on the person's beside you's terms. It's a totally different dynamic.
Totally different. That's another way to look at it, man.
And that's what I love about the modern approach and the new way of thinking about it, where you choose to fast as a personal challenge, to test yourself, discover your own limits, and to see and apply, it like the fasting as a way to learn to become a stronger and more empathetic person, and just to be a better member of society.
Exactly. That's what I was talking about earlier with the willpower.
Yeah.
You test your willpower.
Yeah. Because then you're literally infusing the entire process with way more meaning and value. And then you have an even greater sense of accomplishment.
Yep.
After that. If somebody says, if you accomplish a task, you've done what you were told to do. If you accomplish a challenge, you've done what you thought you couldn't do.
Exactly. You pushed yourself beyond your limits.
And that right there, it's amazing how two different words can completely flip the entire process on its head.
Because me, like, even though when I was younger, like, I used to fast just because my parents said I'm at the age and I have to fast. And I would...
What were you, like 14? 15? Younger?
I would say around that time. But even then, I'll be more than happy to admit it, even up to the age of 19 or 20.
Sure. I used to do half days. I remember starting into it. I used to do half days.
I wouldn't take it seriously. I would just be fasting because my parents wanted me to fast. Right. But then the older you grow up, the more you realize, hey, time is ticking.
Well, and also you went from wanting to make your parents happy to wanting to make you happy.
Because then you realize that you're not doing it for your parents.
Exactly.
This is all on you now.
Yeah.
Right? You're not impressing anybody else with this stuff.
I love it. I compare it to, scaling Mount Everest. I think that it's, when you're done and Eid comes around and it's the last day, I promise you it's such an amazing sense of accomplishment. And unfortunately for me this year, there's some days where I can't do it. I'm on mandatory medication, zero shame in that. But I understand it. I've been through it, because once you scale Mount Everest once, you can relate to that feeling over and over again. And khalas, like, that's it. You know how to do it.
And then the thing is,
after that,
now you want to do it over and over again. You want to scale Mount Everest over and over again because you want the feeling in the end of accomplishment.
Absolutely. And you go from being nervous to trying your best to make it work to finding your rhythm. And once you're in the zone, for me, it's usually day 4. Once you're in the zone of fasting where you're like, yo, I can't be phased anymore. I'm good. Like, my body has adapted. It's amazing how intelligent our bodies are and our brains are. Right?
Unbelievable.
It just adapts right away. It's like, oh, okay, you're doing this now. I got you, And then as happy Eid is, like the end of Ramadan, which is comparable to Christmas because it's very family oriented, there's gifts involved and whatnot. You have this sense of sadness.
Yeah.
That kind of dawns on you.
You do.
On the last day, the last time you break your fast for a full year. It's bittersweet at the end of the day. And that feeling, that moment right there on the last day and the last hour, that is why I do it. Because you're happy and you're sad and you're excited. All the emotions of your human existence happen in 1 hour. Yeah. Which is incredibly exhilarating.
Yeah.
That's just for me personally.
Accomplishment, sense of relief, sad that it's over, proud of yourself, the journey you were on, trying to continue it even though Ramadan is done. Everything, bro. Everything just adds like that last hour. You're just like, oh.
Yeah. It's truly special. Obviously, we want to hear from you guys. Whether or not you're fasting, it doesn't matter. Let us know. Holler at us on Instagram, or if you're watching this on YouTube, comment down below what your experience is like. What do you think about what we said? And if you're not practicing, if you have any questions or whatnot, let us know. Holler at your cousins, man.
And to whoever's fasting through Ramadan right now, Ramadan Mubarak, keep up the hard work, get closer to Allah, stay peaceful, stay humble.
Facts. Big facts.
And for those who aren't fasting either, Ramadan Mubarak to you too. Not a problem.
As usual, we reached out to the family, to the cousins on Instagram, and I wanted to have them be a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
We got to get the cousins involved.
Always
man.
get them involved, man. Let them feel involved.
Thank you for adding.
I gotta let you know how they feel, bro. You know, sometimes you forget
But you know what's the most important thing, though?
that they feel involved.
You beat me to it, man. You beat me to it.
Oh man.
All right. So I asked, what do you love most about Ramadan? And in brackets, I wrote, even if you're not practicing, so just in general. And we got a lot of really good replies, actually. I did post the question a little bit late, unfortunately. So we only got a handful. But big shout out to everybody who answered us on Instagram, Cool Cousins Podcast. If you're not following and if you're not a part of the gang, go ahead. Don't be shy. We're also on TikTok, which is actually banging right now.
Big time.
TikTok is fire. So I'm going to go in order here. One person said, being with family and enjoying Ramadan together.
Ooh, key.
That is key. That community, that family, especially these days, we're longing for family. You know, COVID is kicking all of our butts right now.
Big time, yeah.
So you got to stay close. Another person said, I love the sense of calmness I feel around me.
Peaceful. The peace, the humbleness.
Yeah.
Best feeling.
The humility.
Yeah.
Yeah, calmness is key. Like we said, getting rid of that noise. Another person said, again, family gatherings around the table. Give me that.
Oh, dinner time comes around. Everybody's feasting.
Yeah, and it's a good excuse, you know, for everybody. And yeah, you know, we got lockdowns, but we're still gathering around.
You know,
with family.
yeah. You know, funny thing is about feasting during Ramadan is, I'll tell you what, when you're fasting all day, you ain't shy no more. Everybody eats.
Everybody.
Like they eat.
Everybody's ready to go.
Nobody cares what they look like, what food is on their face. As long as their tummy is full, it's all that matters.
I usually have my Ramadan bib that I wear.
Oh yeah.
I tuck it into my shirt, and away we go.
That's it.
Another person said it heals both the body and the soul, strengthens the willpower, and reconnects us with God/higher self.
Facts. Facts.
I like that.
That's the way it's supposed to feel.
The same person said, it also teaches us gratitude, consciousness, and solidarity with those who starve involuntarily. Wow. Wisdom.
Big time.
Yeah, so we didn't really touch on that too much, but there is a selfless angle to Ramadan.
Of course.
Feeling, we did talk about empathy a little bit, but feeling, you know, those less fortunate, you know, and understanding what it's like to actually go hungry.
Yes.
Yeah, it really switches up your perspective. Feel what one feels who has nothing. That's what another person said. Big facts there. We got one person really honest. He said, honestly, nothing. I feel that too. Like, I'm not even hating on that because, you know, especially this year with all the lockdowns and limitations and stuff, it's like, yo, Ramadan just isn't what it used to be.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, once you're used to doing a certain thing during Ramadan, and you don't do it the next year or the year after, it just feels weird.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right. You know, it feels empty.
Honestly, nothing.
Yeah, just nothing.
I love that. I appreciate the honesty. And then the last one that we got was the spiritual cleanse, working on my patience, actually taking time to focus on learning about Islam.
Well, that's good because you actually you want to improve yourself there.
Yeah, and shout out to the patience note, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to the patience note. I've been personally making a greater effort at patience and staying calm and just being at peace, even in the face of confrontation.
Yeah.
It's amazing what patience can do.
Especially when you're hungry. That's the challenge. Try to stay patient then.
And when you're hangry, that's a different story. Everybody got out of my way. So big shout out to everybody who submitted those answers to the question, as I mentioned, at Cool Cousins Podcast, Instagram, TikTok.
Cool Cousins. You know what it is?
You can talk to us more than your parents.
We switched roles.
Shit.